get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a bat,
looking
I
at
don't
the
know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
fastest
boils
rising
over like,
star in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll bleed on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad. Shut up.
Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah! Let me talk to you! War game.
What is up? What is up, Heel of the Ring Pals, guys? It's been a while. We haven't done a podcast in a while. I thought I was going to get help, but as a tag team, we're the ones and the rest are the twos. So let's get right into it. It is the news and notes tonight. I'm going to give you a little bit of wrestling news. First and foremost, the baby bug has hit the world of professional wrestling. As we see now, we saw on Double of Nothing, Ty, Mello, and Sammy Guevara. Congratulations to them. They announced their announcement of their pregnancy and they're having a baby, as well as Corey Graves and Carmella. They revealed they're having a boy, and now Alexa Bliss and her husband Ryan Cabrera both are having a child, also a boy. Something in the waters here in Orlando, because they're pretty much, I think, two out of the three couples live in Orlando, Florida. I live in Orlando, Florida. I got to stay away from that water because you know, at the age of 40 plus, having another child, I got to be careful. So, but congratulations to them. No, all jokes aside, there are, you know, and it's funny because Alexa Bliss just signed a contract extension with the WWE. Of course, they're going to put that on hold. She's doing in December. Puts the Bray Wyatt news on hold. Bray Wyatt on paper is set for his return. There's plans there. Might be returning back as the Fiend character. And now we'll find out what's going to happen with Bray Wyatt. I think they'll have creative here with Triple H going forward. We'll probably do something. Remember, there's still Uncle Howdy. You also have Uncle Howdy. You could actually, they teased there with Liv Morgan going a little cuckoo, laughing. Remember, that didn't go nowhere where she was getting pinned or beaten, and she was either smiling, passing out. They could also do that there until Alexa Bliss returns. Who knows what they could do there? There's so much creative there with it. I know we had what a weekend of wrestling, from TNA Impact all the way to AEW, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and of course into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to finally, and even Impact is taped tonight. So there is wrestling every night of the week. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to love it. And we're talking about Night of Champions. First Resurgence was a good TNA Impact pay-per-view there. Of course, Bully Ray puts Scott D'Amore through a table with Steve, along with Steve Macklin, put Scott D'Amore through a burning table. All in all, you saw Jordynne Grace finish her Impact contract with losing to Diana Purrazzo. And you know, she can never challenge as long as she's the champion for the ladies' title, for the Knockouts champion. It'll be interesting to see where Jordynne Grace goes in the world of professional wrestling. She's a free agent. You know, a lot of people speculating WWE run for her. Boy, she could be a larger-than-life persona on the main roster in the WWE, bringing her in from Impact. Just think of the matches where Bianca Belair, Jordynne Grace, or even Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair. My goodness, she is a specimen, not just a big, strong lady, but a really, really good worker in the ring. Mr. J, what's going on? What is good, Jay? My man Jay in the building. Oh, let's acknowledge him. Indeed, Jay. Let's always good to see you, man. And then we were talking about the impact for the ladies for the knockouts. And now she's no longer there. Of course, they've gotten a big insurgent with Trinity, aka Naomi, into Impact Wrestling. Look for her in the next upcoming pay-per-view to have a title match with Diana Purrazzo. That's going to be a banger. Diana Purrazzo, very underrated wrestler. I know she was a part of the WWE Performance Center along with her husband Steve Macklin, also Orlando, Florida natives, or they live here, and they are. One day we will see them returning back to the WWE. I think they needed that time away to invent themselves, spread their wings, and I can see them returning to the main roster to the WWE when they have time passes. You know, but personally, I would love to see her and Chelsea Green boost up the tag team divisions. As we heard, Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, they became the new women's tag team champion. And then she had a lot of interesting comments to the New York Post saying that there is no competition in that. And she's afraid that the WWE might not push the women's tag team. They're very scarce or not enough competition to keep that title invested or to relevancy. And that was kind of rough by Ronda Rousey. We know that was the same thing with Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, and Trinity, when they both walked out last season with the World Tag Team titles, the ladies tag team champions, leaving them on Joe Laurinaitis' desk and walking out. But now we have a growing tag team division in the WWE, in my opinion. You know, you have Albert Fire and Isla Dawn that came up. You have Katana and Chance Carter. You know, don't underestimate these ladies from NXT that have been called up to the main roster, especially Katana, Chance, and Carter. They are really good wrestling. They're when you talk about a tag team, don't underestimate them. Very good workers in the ring. They are the life of the party. At least in NXT, they get us going in NXT, and you know, good hardworking ladies that I hope the WWE gives them a fair shot in the main roster with those tag titles. And you know, in a program, you could slowly build them again. Let Ronda Rousey destroy whatever they're going to do in the next few months and have them have a collision course, eventually meeting. And personally, I'm for it. I want to see the WWE build their tag teams. They have a lot of ladies they could use as tag teams. You have Candice LeRae. Now you brought Indy Hartwell back up into the main roster. You can have them as a tag team right now. Not everyone has to go for the main title run, especially with Rhea Ripley. Now it's going to have show of dominance as well with Asuka as the new champions. We saw Night of Champions. We have a new Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. Now, all I've got to say, the internet, the trolls, now you need to shut up. You guys complain and bitch and cried about you wanted Bianca Belair to drop her title. She was boring, blah, blah, blah. And you guys missed the point of the whole round of Bianca Belair. She is the longest reigning, not the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion. Not only that, the longest reigning African American champion in wrestling history. And you guys were dying for her to remove the title. Why? And then I wanted her to be there in a long title run because listen, it's not about us adults as well. When Bianca Belair caters to young ladies that look at her and say, I could do this. That you don't hear her theme song. She has her back against the wall. She's bringing overcoming, and she's a great role model for ladies. Well, so what do you want now? You want your daughters to go around spitting, and there's nothing wrong with the Asuka character. I like Asuka. She's a great wrestler, and I'm glad she has the title there. But my point is, you had a Bianca Belair clean cut baby face who. It wasn't about for the adults. It was for the young ladies. Merchandise, selling. You know what I mean? Young ladies wanted the long extensions and the big hoop earrings. And again, we were dying to get that title off of her. That grinds my gears. It just drives me nuts. It's always not about the adults here. Remember, they're trying to set up for the next generation, the same generation that loves Stone Cold Steve Austin, Tommy Dreamer, Rock. Those, and we like the nostalgia. Like we remember Hulk Hogan now when we were kids. Now when we're the ones going and taking our kids and spending the money. That's what they're trying to plant the seeds sometimes. And we go nuts and he's boring and we don't like. No, let's sit back. Let the creative. Let's sit back and enjoy it. You have the right not to like them. I get it, but to have that push, I don't know why they wanted Bianca Belair to drop the title. She dropped the title anyway, and also in AEW, you saw Jay Cargill, another one that they were dying to get the title off. Oh, it was boring. There was a story being told, 60-0, and you bring in Statlander where she was in an injury and just came out of nowhere and won that title. Why? Can I ask the question, why? What next? Now, what next for Statlander? What next? I could see where you could develop an Oscar storyline. Of course, the money is always in the chase whenever the challenger is looking for that gold for Bianca Belair. I just hope they don't turn her heel. I know it worked for Braun Breaker. It's working phenomenal for sometimes the heel run, but Bianca Belair, there's a market. There's a market where young ladies and that market works. That's my opinion. But back to Jay Cargill, she's going to take some time off. Understandably so, dropping that title. I know guys sometimes cringe on some of her matches. Personally, she checks all the boxes. She checks all the boxes. Personally, I'm hoping that they kind of, I'm not saying copycat, but they push a Lash legend similar to a Jay Cargill, not the undefeated streak, but that larger persona lady, because she also checks the boxes. They're both tall, they're beautiful, they're built well, and they have a knit factor. All three of these ladies, I mean, when was you go back 25 years ago, all you saw was Trish and Lita in bra and panties. Seriously. And now we have developed a women's division, not only with beauty, but with good in-ring performers, microphone skills. And that's what it's, if you're a wrestling fan, no matter what, all across the board, even Impact Wrestling, you have, Killer Kelly, phenomenal in-ring performer. These ladies are killing it in a good way, in-ring performers, in NXT, in AEW, in Impact, and all across. They're doing phenomenal work with the ladies wrestling. It's not no longer I have to go get a drink or I have to go use the bathroom matches no more. It's not a bathroom break. It's not a Hot Pockets pickup. It's a must-watch match. We look at Battlegrounds, one of the best pay-per-views of NXT, you could say, in the past year and a half to 2 years. Yeah, I still say World Collide was very interesting, was very up there. But it was for 2023, it was better than Stand and Deliver. And of course, in Stand and Deliver, we had that wonderful crowning of Carmelo Hayes as the world champion. But the whole card was not a match there that you had to like, oh, can this end? Every card, every match. And Stand and Deliver wasn't a boring card either. It was a really good card. But there was a few, the tag team titles here and there was a little bit of okay, I could take a little bit of, let me take a quick look at something else. But Battlegrounds took your attention. And of course, Tiffany Stratton, kudos to her winning that NXT Women's Champion. How long she's going to be in range, who knows? Be honest with you, because there's a lot of young ladies up and coming in NXT that is coming for that title. Tiffany has to bring it on the microphone. I know she was on Interviewed with Busted Open and mentioned about she needs work with her psychology, in-ring psychology, a little bit more microphone skills there on her promos. We noticed that on her NXT on Tuesday when she came out and addressed the ladies. It was a little bit, it went over a little 5 more minutes than expected. And I wish the ladies would have came out a little sooner and done all the interruptions to set up the women's battle royal for #1 contendership. I would have liked that from over Tiffany, but Tiffany has come a long way. Only has a year, I'm pretty sure, on full TV and in NXT wrestling, about a year and a half in the business. And for her to be working extremely hard as that as well helps a lot. Also, of course, let's be honest, the looks also got her a little bit elevated. I mean, she checks the WWE boxes or what they look for when they want to represent a champion. But no, either the fact she's still put in the work, she worked her rear end off there, and it's good to see Tiffany as women's champion. Like I said, how long is that title range? It's up to her. It's up to her hard work ethic, how long she takes us as a fan base engaged and invested on her as a women's champion here. It's going to tell when NXT, because then it's one thing about Sean, he doesn't shy about changing that title and putting that strap on someone who's worthy. I don't know what happened with Roxanne Perez. Maybe she was a little too young. I thought Roxanne Perez at first, when she beat Mandy Rose, I was like, a little bit too soon. Or when we know what happened to Miss Mandy. And then when they put her that title, it was like, okay. But then when that match with Mika Ramona really opened my eyes for her, and I said, you know what? She could go. You know, Roxanne, I have a lot of respect for Roxanne Perez. Maybe, you know, there's also been rumors that after Battleground, certain talents in the backstage has said goodbye or are going to be elevated soon to the main roster. One of the names come up was Braun Breaker. Look for him to come back in Detroit. I personally think if Braun comes up, he was the last man to pin Gunther on his shoulders, and that was before Gunther came up to the main roster about a year ago, a little over a year. Also, Ilya Dragunov. I've been saying this. If you see my streams and you see I've not done a lot of wrestling streams much, but the wrestling streams that I've done, I have said that Ilya Dragunov was going to be the fourth member of Imperium, and I said, you know what? He's gonna, and I've been saying that way before. Now all the dirt sheets and all the facts and all this comes up and saying he is. And I said, yeah, it makes sense. Imperium, if you notice there, back in the NXT UK days, there were four. There were four members. And of course, WWE is growing in facets. You see there with Judgment Day. You see it with LWO. You're starting to see it with different groups coming together. DYI, you know, look for that to show up. You know, Johnny Gargano. You see maybe Ciampa's ready to return from his hip injury. We see that with the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre. And I know everybody wants to know, where is Drew McIntyre? Drew McIntyre has a contract is about to expire at the end of the year. Right now, he is dealing with a family issue, a death in the family, time away from the ring. He is a Raw wrestler who was drafted, hasn't made his debut on Raw either, but there's also been a few others that haven't made their Raw debuts after being drafted. One is Odyssey Jones. That's a young man I want you guys to keep your eyes out for. A big talent. Looks, and if you want to compare, I'm not saying he wrestles exactly like him, but he has a comparison physique. Mark Henry. You see a lot of Mark Henry vibes in Odyssey Jones. You need that kind of wrestler in the Raw. Of course, if you want to start bringing these big monsters like Omos, you know, you have Omos there. Odyssey Jones will be a perfect. You also got Top Dollar. You know, when he gets healthy, when he returns, you could put Omos, and you could put Odyssey Jones take up against a Omos or a Top Dollar. That kind of physique, that type of. You need all types. You also have Bronson Reed is in the in Raw, who is right now, believe it or not, one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Bronson Reed is must-watch TV for me. I really enjoy Bronson Reed when he wrestles. One of my favorites to watch here on Raw. I can't wait. And I understand why Nakamura gets the victory on Monday Night Raw over Bronson Reed. I definitely see the reason why. I know Bronson Reed tweeted out my first loss. Yes, but there is a big picture with Bronson Reed. I'm a big fan. I'm invested in Bronson Reed when he matches come. We also saw in this year, second match coming up there, squash match. We saw good job to see Big Body Javi on Monday Night Raw go in there, and of course it was an enhancement squash match there, but you're setting up Veer, you're setting up Sangha, you're setting up a tag team. They're retooling their men's tag team. You know, you also got, now you have in this year, you also have the Viking Raiders, Alpha Academy. Good to see them get a victory. Looks like Maximo Male Bottles might be on his way out. Maxine Dupree looks like it's more a Alpha Academy, and looks like Chad Gable was going to bring her under the wing and have her wrestle, maybe her in-ring debut for Maxine Dupree, to see her in the main roster on Raw, getting her first match there. You know, we're tally teasing mixed intergender matches with Alpha Academy against the Viking Raiders with Maxine Dupree. We might see that. Also, we saw Money in the Bank qualifier match. I love about WWE, they quickly went into set up their pay-per-view coming up in London for the Money in the Bank. Everyone likes to see, everyone's favorite is either LA Knight or Dominic Mysterio. And either way the WWE goes with that, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. Personally, I would love them to, since now that we see that there's two titles or a brand split. And oh God, I'm going to get to the brand split in a second. There's a brand split. You see Roman on Friday night, and we'll see Seth freaking Rollins, the inaugural champion, winning that in the Night of Champions against AJ Styles. A hell of a match. We also saw AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw. Everyone is losing their marbles with why AJ Styles on Raw when he's a SmackDown competitor. He said it. he had a mate come in and wanted to shake Rollins' hand. I understand that, it doesn't mean nothing. Guys will come in and out, back and forth. This is wrestling. If they need XYZ, they need to bring them in. Also, did anyone think about Seth Rollins? They tagged him with AJ. Didn't you ever think about maybe Rollins and AJ both are jet lagged to put, and of course, and I know they were being critical and said, if Triple H said this is the title that has to be defended each and every week, and the first match and of course, Busted Open is the first one. I listened to Busted Open. Busted Open was the first one to complain and said, the title means crap because his first match with Rollins with the title was a tag match. But you guys never thought about it, and I'm surprised because these guys travel around the world, especially Bully, and why didn't you think he might have been jet lagged? Did you think you didn't think he was jet lagged? You want him to go on live national television with a high audience to see your world champion give you a crappy match because he's jet lagged and tired? No, you put him in a tag match. You play it safe. You make a nice tag match for 15 minutes of Raw to close out Raw. Everyone goes happy. You see that instead of, we should have got a rematch. No, they're tired. Think about that. I mean, come on, man. You guys get a literal nitpicking on the most dumbest things. It was the most, to me, I thought it was dumb. He mentioned it, that they asked him, and of course we find out later that they changed it. Who was supposed to come out and challenge Rollins, but Rollins probably said he was jet lagged, he was tired. That's plain and simple. You made a safe match here, a tag match with Judgment Day. I love the way they swerved us, thinking that Dominic was going to come in the match, and they swerved us. It was fun. Monday Night Raw was a good Monday Night Raw. You set up some money in the banks. You set up some possibilities there. Some storylines continued. And of course, everybody wants to know tomorrow night on SmackDown when it comes to the Bloodline. We saw Jimmy Uso and Jay Uso. Jimmy just got fed up and kicked Roman right in the mouth. Kick first Solo, then Roman. Roman just gets a little handsy, man. When you put your hands on, no matter what, if I do that if I start mushing my cousins, we're gonna start throwing hands. Disrespect. You gotta respect your cousins. Even if you're the older cousin, doesn't give you the right to start putting your hands and mushing, and especially in adulthood, you will get the hands. And you're lucky he got the kick. Wonder if Rikishi is gonna be involved here. I've been saying it for months. That I look for Jacob Fatu to be part of this Bloodline situation. I don't know which way or what. He's one of the other brothers of the Usos coming in here. He's GCW. I think he dropped the GCW title a couple weeks ago. I believe his obligations with GCW is up, so he might be signing. I know everyone says, well, doesn't WWE have a freezing hired with the Endeavor taking over? And I don't know. According to the dirt sheets, there might be. Some of them say no, some of them say yes. I don't know. But if Jacob Fatu were able to come in, part of the Bloodline story, it just keeps adding. This Bloodline storyline, it keeps adding. Personally, when it happened the Night of Champions, I thought I felt a little rush. They could have built it where that had to happen. I thought it was they accelerated the timeline for some reason, at least in my opinion. I think, I kind of want a little bit of chaos, to be solely freaking honest with you. I wanted to see Roman Reigns win the tag title with Solo. I wanted him to carry a couple of belts, the tag teams, have titles hostage, where it allows Roman to go into Raw now as a tag team champion with Solo, not all the time, but go in there and defend it. And he heads and he bumps into a Seth freaking Rollins. And that stare down, that now you could have a tease where he wants to collect now that world title, the new WWE world title. And now because he's on, and it doesn't have to, you don't have to wait on the, crossover brand splits or any other premium live events, because he could go to Monday Night Raw as a tag team champion. That would have been another way of doing it. Also, if, probably a triple threat match where you have Bloodline, Jim, you have Solo, Roman, Jimmy and Jay, along with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and you get like a double. We haven't had this done in a long time in the WWE, a double pin. That's also a way of you splitting the tag team titles, because you got a double pin. So you got two winners, and you could split the titles, the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles, and you have two, and then you could solve that problem as well. Or you could still do that. It doesn't have to be with the Bloodline, but you can have a double pin where both men's shoulders are on the mat, and it calls a draw where the titles could be split. I mean, that could happen. You know, we've seen crazy things in the WWE when it comes to rules and situations. That's a way of going about it creatively. It's interesting to see because Roman celebrates 1,000 days as your tribal chief, as champion, a range that has gone for historic proportion. I think he'll catch Hogan. Believe it or not, I think Pedro Morales is after that. If he goes on to WrestleMania 40, which is the storyline with him holding that world champion or the universal undisputed champion to WrestleMania 40, possibly Cody Rhodes. Speaking of Cody Rhodes, it looks like they're setting up for a third match with Brock Lesnar, where each wrestler's, we saw Brock Lesnar get the submission or the referee stoppage at the Night of Champions. And both have a match. I love the promos from Cody Rhodes. I still think he still continues to gather the people's heat or captivate the crowd to where he is no longer feeling dull, and people still singing along with the whoa. His introduction, his music, it's still a good sing along. I think it topped what Judas in my mind from Jericho. I think people are singing along just to that level. And also what the fun fact is, when they singing the Kingdom from Cody Rhodes, there's no alcohol. Half of the time when they're singing Jericho, Judas in my mind, you always see what you see always there. And hey, that's AEW who gives you that camera shot. You always see is some old guy there with a big, tall beer singing along. So a little in there when they're singing Judas in my mind. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's still great. His song is over. It's a good song. But my point is, Cody's getting over without the help of a little adult beverage there. So he's over, and good job on him. Also, we see Jamie Hayter in AEW dropped her women's title to 2 times now, to Toni Storm, a 2-time, the first woman 2-time champion. Jamie Hayter has a bad back issue. Don't know if she might even wrestle in All In. That I don't know the severity of her injury. We also saw Sasha Banks Monet, Mercedes Moné with a bad ankle. She still have some inflammations. Don't know if surgery is needed. Don't know her timetable out, which puts a hamper on New Japan Wrestling, because we saw Willa Nightingale, congratulations to her, winning the NWGP Strong Women's Champion in an event that happened in Long Beach as well. She won that title. Mercedes Moné had a bad fall, carried back to the locker room. Boy, that took the hamper on all the AEW hopefuls that was probably going to see her in the Forbidden Door. They wanted that match. I don't know if she will be back in time for the Forbidden Door, which is about 3 weeks away. I don't know if she's going to be able to wrestle there, and there is no reason for her to wrestle, and to be honest with you, in the Forbidden Door, because she is not a world champion. If she would have won that NWGP Strong Champion, you would have had it set up a match with her with any of the ladies in AEW. So I don't know if that's going to happen in the Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door is coming up, but let's go double or nothing that happened. The 4 Pillars match I heard was a hell of a match. I did not watch the AEW. I try to watch a replay of it, but once you see the results, it's tough for me to really want to watch a wrestling when I already know what happened. I know it because I was watching Battlegrounds. I was covering Battleground for NXT on my channel here. But I heard it was a good match there, the 4 Pillars match, MJF. I love the fact that I did see when they did homages to their proteges or their mentors, excuse me. We saw the Sting Scorpion Death Drop. We saw all the different moves by all the concerto. We saw, and it was a good kudos there to see Cody Rhodes, the Crossroads from MJF, out of all people. Phenomenal job there on that match there. Of course, the Anarchy in the Arena. Well, it was just a hot mess. If you like violence, if you like, hardcore match, hardcore spot fest, that's exactly what that was on AEW Anarchy in the Arena. Unfortunately, it came with some negative with that. If you look at the film or the pictures or all the videos from the Twitter world, there's a lot of empty seats, and damn, I wish they would have not showed that, but it is what the factual things is. It was a lot of empty seats for Double or Nothing. Listen, it's an economic situation. Las Vegas is expensive. Las Vegas is an expensive city. I'm pretty sure that the tickets were going low. The tickets wouldn't cost that much, but the airlines, the food, the entertainment, it was, and then you had Battleground at the same time. I don't, and you also, and what hurts AEW, they have several of shows coming up. You have now the Forbidden Door, then you have All In. I'm pretty sure a lot of the AEW diehards want to be part of that historic. They say they have 60,000 on pre-sales and plus, and I think a lot of people want to save their money, make a trip, and go out to England rather than Vegas. They did Vegas. They have done Vegas already. Maybe that's what it is. What's going on with All Elite Wrestling? Why they had a low attendance for that? Pretty much that's like their WrestleMania or their Starcade. I'm not going to say the WrestleMania. I say a Starcade. That's like their Starcade event, signature event, and for not having a lot of fans there. But the card, I heard it was okay. There was some criticism in the early part. Jeff Hardy, he fell off trying to go on a spot there. I don't know if he was selling a knee injury or what. I didn't see the match, so I'm not going to say he botched. Maybe he was selling on the knee, but prior to that, there was some knee issues there that he was selling on a move. It could be that. I'm not going to say anything about that. Just that if it's something that he's not capable of performing to hurt himself, maybe retirement should be called for Mr. Hardy. He's done phenomenal. He's a Hall of Famer. You could say he's a two-time Hall of Famer with the Hardys in WWE and as well in CNA Hall of Fame. So if he calls it quits, it might be better for him, and maybe he wants to open up a school and teach wrestling for young, inspiring Hardy fans like himself. Who knows there? But if that's the case, I hope he does think hard about retiring, not continue to hurt himself. It's good that he's back in the ring, keeping his mind occupied from all his demons and all his different stuff that happened in his life. So it was good to see him in the ring at least. Hopefully he gets the right help and goes forward. Also, we saw of course, a new women's champion as well as a TBS champion. I know people were complaining about the Warlord match with Arn Anderson and his corner. The broken ladder with Christian. There has been a lot of criticism there. I saw bits and pieces of that highlights. Hey, listen, the guy is through almost 300 pounds to do that, to leap across the top rope onto a ladder, and the ladder cracks. And then I know, hey, man, it's a more spur of a moment there when he wants to climb a broken ladder and the referee came and helped him. Listen, what is there to really, can you really, really, really complain? I mean, Warlord, he's just a beef of a man. And I hate to say that AEW has not booked him correctly and they lost a lot of heat on Warlord. I hope that that he gets a push again and gets that magic again. But I don't know with the TBS title. I mean, I know everybody wants to see him go up against MJF eventually. I think that's going to happen towards the middle of autumn, like around October. You could see that that feud possibly. Also, we saw. Whoa! I want to give kudos though to Mommy, aka Rhea Ripley, and Dominic Mysterio. They're over on two companies as Acclaim can't keep WWE out of their minds. They live rent free there and have to continue to cut promos and rap about it and talking about Bertie Murphy, who that how Rhea's being shanked by a guy named Dom. So, and Rhea loved the fact that Rhea wrote that in Twitter, says, hey, we're down, we're over in two companies. And you know what? That's the right response there. Also, speaking about rent-free, when is the time that Tony Khan, you could tell he loves wrestling. I think we're all could be a little bit of Tony Khan if we were billionaires. If we had a billionaire father with money, I think we would open up a wrestling organization like AEW. He actually loves wrestling. You could tell that. Is he running it correctly? We could sit here and debate and go back and forth. And we could say all the negative things. But I'm going to give you a positive light. He loves the business. He's given wrestlers opportunities where they might have been unemployed, running around in the indies. And All Elite Wrestling was an alternative. And some of these wrestlers are wrestling, making a living. I kudos to him. But he has no control of what his wrestlers are spewing from their mouths. in these media scrums. Maybe he should think about not doing media scrums with the talent. I think the talent, because MJF just blew out and he just had the biggest diarrhea of the mouth in these media scrums. I mean, for you to put over your competition, your other company, and saying how Nick Khan, Triple H wants to sign me, want me to work there, and then you see the poor man. He must have turned every color, and salute to all those that are celebrating Pride Month. And talk about Pride Month. Tony Khan turned like a rainbow with all the colors in his face. I mean, my goodness. And he almost, if he had that water bottle, he almost, like last time when he got caught in the media scrum, he almost deep throat the water bottle. We all know the fun memes that he was deep throating it. He almost, he was going for a deep throat swallow and he couldn't. So with him, he's just got to know what's going on with his talent. You can't have talent go out there and no matter what, start putting over the WWE in your own face and saying how he wants to leave. He wants to he wants to take his ball and go home. It's not like he wants to be done with wrestling. I mean, I understand that he's playing a role of a villain and living it, keeping it kayfabe and all that stuff from MJF, being a prick outside of wrestling. In wrestling, I remember one of the media guys that asked him a question. He asked him if he had type 3 diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Like, dude, they're asking you a question. Just, yeah, you want to, really, dude? MJF, listen, he's a talented talker and his matches lately has been very elevated. But let's be honest, that AEW title run with him has been mid. It hasn't been really extraordinary, but I can't blame MJF neither because Hangman's title range was mid. The only heavyweight title run that was really, really exciting was Jericho with the League Champion, with the Pinnacle. That was a really fun time having him being the world champion. Moxie was okay, but Moxie had no fans to really celebrate it with it. But my point is, you can't be getting, and also Ricky Morton came on, and I heard him on Busted Open as well, and he laid in on, I advise you to check it out. That was on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. It was Wednesday's podcast version of Busted Open, and he really laid in on MJF, talking about the other companies and stuff like that. That was a good one. So when Ricky Morton on Busted Open, I advise you to listen to that one, and you can hear it from himself. Not, it's nothing that I'm coming up with. It's a wrestler who's been in the business for over 45 years. Ricky Morton, 50. It's still going. One of the decorated tag teams of all time in the Rock and Roll Express. And he said it. So it's interesting on that with MJF there. Personally, we'll see how they build up now. They got to turn around and build up for this card coming up for the Forbidden Door. Kenny Omega was teased. He didn't show up last night, but he teased. If you look at the media or backstage or someone tweeted after the show went off the air talking about he has friends, still have a few friends elsewhere in other companies, probably teasing, bringing in some factions, some help to even up the odds against the Blackpool Comic Club, maybe someone from New Japan. We will find out. Only time will tell. And we'll see how they'll build Forbidden Door this year. I wonder, of course, the Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's contract is coming up soon from New Japan Wrestling. Doesn't want to live in the United States. Interesting note on that. He would like to stay with New Japan, not interested in living in the United States. So interesting on that one from Will Ospreay. But he says if he really wants a Forbidden Door match, he would have been against Seth freaking Rollins. Seth Rollins right now is one of the top wrestlers in wrestling right now. Not because he holds the title. He's a workman. He works safe. He could work with all different styles. That match with Omos, that we saw in Puerto Rico. What a match. He made Omos look like a star. The way he put over Omos and the psychology in that match with him. He had to get that super curve stomp to get Omos down. The big man. Personally, I think Omos looked really good there and Seth freaking Rollins can make anything work. Cody Rhodes, that trilogy with Cody Rhodes, even though he fell on all three of those trilogy took Rhodes, but man, legendary matches in that Hell in a Cell match with him and Cody. They all were great. matches, and that's what Seth freaking Rollins does. One of the top wrestlers in the business right now, in my opinion, with Rollins, and well deserved that title. Who will be his next opponent? It'll be interesting to see what they'll set up on Monday Night Raw coming up here. I know people would like to see Drew McIntyre. I know I mentioned his name. McIntyre, again, if you join me a little bit late, McIntyre has a family issue, death in the family, actually, that he is taking time away from wrestling right now. Not that his contract is up and he will love a new contract. Absolutely. He does want a new contract. There is that it out there. But I think it's the wrestling fans that are thirsty. Or at least the All Elite wrestling fans are thirsty for him to be in that card and All In, or coming up, and it's not going to happen, because remember, even if he gets released, there'll be a 90 days no complete clause, unless and his contract does not end until the end of the year. So don't hold your breath on that one. It's not going to happen with that. Also, Edge. We know Edge, Hall of Fame career. Edge is his Hall of Fame career is coming to an end. He's going to retire. He wants to retire in Toronto. His last match will be in Toronto coming up in the summer. There's also talks if he's going to go to AEW to have one-on-one match with Christian. Possible. It could be possible that I could see Edge showing up for a couple matches only for a short time, and in and out in All Elite Wrestling. I could probably see that. Also, we saw Tony Khan has been in talks with Goldberg. I don't know what happened, what's going on with him in WWE, that he's talking about. He didn't get a proper retirement match. When I hear that from Goldberg, I did that silent relief, because if you watch A&E does some great documentaries, behind the scenes with the biographies, phenomenal job. And Goldberg professedly said he wasn't a wrestling fan. He didn't like this business. He came in because he had a physical talent to do this, and he looked the part. When he went to the WCW power plant down in Atlanta, he wrestled. He had got elevated. Even Bret Hart until this day does not like this man. He cannot see him in a painting. He dislikes this man because he wasn't a safe worker, because he wasn't taught the right way how to be a safe worker. He doesn't, and I'm not saying he's not disrespectful, but he didn't come in having that humble respect for the business. And for you to want to say you want a farewell match where they just put the WWE just put the strap on you in Saudi, they gave you a title run, World Universal title run. I mean, you made money in merchandise. You have your son, older senior wrestler. I don't know what kind of retirement match you were looking for. I don't get it. And it wasn't like you're gonna put a talent over. It wasn't like you're okay. You know what? I guarantee if you ask Goldberg right now, he'll say no. Well, okay, we'll have your retirement match, but you have to put Braun Breaker over and have him destroy you. He probably will say no. He probably won't say. He'll probably say no, and that's probably what happened here with WWE. Well, and anyway, AEW's looked like he wants to go and have a final match. Ryback threw his name in the hat. Remember Ryback, feed me more. He wants to get back in the ring and let him go in there. Personally, if you're gonna have Goldberg, and I don't know how they'll, you could put either Powerhouse Hobbs against Goldberg or Warlord. I don't know Warlord I don't know you want to turn him heel, because I don't think Goldberg as a heel is gonna work. But you never know. Maybe a dream match scenario. We don't know, but it'll be interesting. Do I see that happening? Of course. If you saw Sting, another one who Sting, another one that cried. He never had the opportunity in WWE. They gave him that opportunity and he got injured. I mean, and he is so anti WWE. Sting, it's not even funny with it. But it didn't work out. They made money on the video game. They put him in that video game. They made money on the merchandise, but it is with some guys are not WWE guys. Some guys are, some guys are All Elite guys. So we'll see on that there. Let's go talk back to the NXT world. We saw the free agents make their impact or their presence felt in NXT on Tuesday night, starting with Mustafa Ali. Good job there. I called Mustafa. I said it on the Battleground, but I thought it was for Carmelo Hayes. I'm more surprised that I could see these matches, Wesley and Mustafa Ali. That's going to be a hell of a match if those two guys get in the ring. Even with Tyler Bates, triple threat, or even a fatal four-way with Joe Gacy, like they're teasing, man, I'm all for it. We know that Bash at the Beach is coming up on the 30th of June. That's going to be in Texas. So WWE NXT still can take in their talents on the road to big for their pay-per-views or the premium live events. Good job there, because it gets this talent to go outside of the performance center, because they see us every Tuesday. We tend to be, and I'm not saying we tend to be furniture, but the same familiar faces. They want to see if they could wow other crowds. They know they could get over on us in Tuesday. Who's over on the crowd, who's not over. But they now, when they go travel outside of Orlando, even though they do house shows up and down the state of Florida, I'd love to go to those as well. I advise you, if you're in Florida, check out the NXT house shows. Check it out there. You go to eat tickets, find out if they're in your city, Port Pierce or Fort Myers, or Naples, Tampa, Gainesville. Check them out. There, Largo. Those house shows are really good. You get to see the wrestlers up close and personal there. You take some pictures, you meet them, meet and greet them. It's a good time if you want to meet the futures of tomorrow of the wrestling world. I would advise you to go to those house shows for NXT. I enjoy them. I love going to them in Sanford and Orlando. Those are fun. They're fun. You get to see them. They're not rushed, because they're not on live television where they have to have a show going, keep the show going. And believe it or not, man, one of the bang matches that I saw was Malik the Freak taking on Carmelo Hayes in Orlando. What a match. It was almost 3 weeks ago. But that was the main event or close the show. I wish they'll show that on live television. I hope they could replicate that same match, almost exactly the way it was. My God, the crowd was invested in that arena or that auditorium where we were watching them wrestle, and I would love that for the world to see that match. Malik, hopefully he gets an opportunity to challenge, and even if we know that what's going to be the result, but something for Melo to and show Malik getting over without going over. Malik is, we know he's in a tag team with Enofe. Hopefully they get a big push now. They're the next stars, next man up after the roster call-ups, and I hope they get a push. Of course, personally, a friend. I know friends of the Jedi here. They're those guys, and I hope they, personally, I hope they get really pushed. So I really am looking forward to see them going forward there. For Carmelo Hayes, we also see him had a good fight with Norm Dar. Dar had a good match with Dragon Lee in Battleground. Of course, we're starting to see a faction grow. And I love it. I love it, because I wasn't feeling Norman Mensah. I was like, I'm not feeling him. And now you bring out Jakari Jackson and Lash Legend and Norman Dar with the Heritage Cup. You know what? It works. It's like, we got gold. Ding, 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 ding. We got gold, because now we saw, Dragon Lee took the pin. Lash Legend hit him with the bucket. Of course, they had Heritage Cup rules, the amount of pinfall and amount of rounds and stuff like that. And of course, Nora Doar wins it. But I love the fact that you brought Jakari as a distraction. Of course, these two ladies weren't really doing much. How much more leveled up matches can you have? Now I love them in a storyline. Although I did love Lash Legend with Pretty Deadly for a while, but I don't know what happened. It didn't work, whatever the case was. But now let's see Lash with Nora Dar, Ora Mensa, and Jakari. Now you have a group. I would call them the culture. Personally, that would be my name. If I were Shawn Michaels in NXT, I would call them the culture. I would love that to be the culture. They're the culture. They're just cultures. They're cultures. And then that's it. Oh, here comes the culture. And then with Noran Dar, Ora Mensa, and Jakari Jackson and Lash Legend. That would be a hell of a name. That would be a great name there, the culture. You could have them, t-shirts with a big C, whatever the case is, you kind of emblem with the cup. You could really I love that group. I love that they, I wasn't feeling Noran Dar either. When he came out with that cup, I was like, who's this clown? I wasn't really feeling him, and he went after Dragon Lee. It was like, but then when this group, two guys that I wasn't feeling, and Oro Mensa and Noran Dar, and of course, two ladies that I think they were extremely talented. They are continuing to be extremely talented. They're beautiful looking. They're could wrestle. You know, Lash Legend ticks the box. I told you already how I feel about Lash Legend, checking all the boxes there. They, you know, women's champion, hopefully by the end of the year. You know, hopefully she's in that title run. I hope she works her ass off in the performance center with her coaches, where she could now be put into that position of possibly winning that woman's title. You know, I would love that to happen on a random night on a Tuesday. We don't even expect it. Like the way Bob Backlund lost that title to Kevin Nash at Madison Square Garden after beating Bret Hart at Survivor Series. I know you guys, you know, if you're a wrestling historian, remember that. It just happened in a house show. I would love Last Legend to just come and just take that title. Whoever's the world champion at the time, if it's Roxanne Perez, if it's Tiffany Stratton, she's still running, or whoever. Personally, I would love that to be Last Legend, like kind of like that kind of a surprise, like, you know, like, oh, this is why you have to. And also it shows credibility to why you have to go to a house show. You know, you have a house show either in Tampa or whatever, and Lash Legend becomes the world champion on Tuesday night, and they'll show you the footage. This happened on Nxt, and makes also credibility to your house shows, because now you go, you know what, title could change hand in a house show. So I would love that. If I was booking there, or throw a suggestion, if I was part of the creative, I would throw that kind of a suggestion, maybe with title change once in a blue moon to keep the house shows a little honest. Oh, you know, must watch. I must go. You know what? Even though it is a must watch, personally, from experience, I would do that personally. But that's NXT there. What's going to happen? Who's going to win that women's battle royal? There's going to be a lot of ladies there, factors, who might win. We also saw the mysterious attacker was Blair Davenport. We haven't seen her since Worlds Collide, when she was part of that triple threat match with Mika Suramoto, Mandy Rose, and Blair Davenport, to unification of the women's heavyweight titles, and she came back there. Good to see her back on there. A talented lady from NXT UK. Also, we would like to see what happened to Stevie Turner. I know she does a lot of house shows, not much on the main, not much on TV. Much, I haven't seen her much there. I don't know if she's nursing a minor injury. Don't forget, Nikita Lyons working her way back from her injury, probably a couple months away before returning. We see when she returns to see how hot, or how they're going to pick up steam with her. Adriana Grace as well. Adriana, the daughter of Santino Marella, also coming back from a knee injury. Also, the Tony D'Angelo story. You know, Tony Angelo is locked up, and there is a rat in NXT. Everyone is pointing. It could be. I thought it was Stacks. You know, I said, you know what? It could be Stacks, because Stacks is too chilling. You know, high-fiving the Creed brothers and etc. Personally, this is an opportunity to Tony D'Angelo to have Luca, the lawyer, be under his wing and add him part of the group, even if it's not Stacks. You know, you could have Stacks with Luca. Now you have a group there. Remember, they lost 2 dimes about a year. No, in August will be a year. They had 2 dimes. Of course, outside of our control, no longer part of the company. But it's nice to have that. He's a lawyer that will help him and bail him out. I wouldn't mind. And he looks like Tony D'Angelo. He fits their criteria in their group. I will do that there. Also, at the end of the night, we saw, again, can we continue saying, I want to give my flowers to Trick Williams. Phenomenal on the mic with cutting his promos. Their promos get funnier and funnier and better. If you have not watched Tricking It Is Easy, please check out his channel there. The description will be in the video. I will put it there. I need you to go see Trickin' Ain't Easy from Trick Williams. Of course, my main man Jay, Movie Mania, is in there. Of course, my main man Cleveland, Vic, you know, friends, you know, that I see them every time at NXT. There, it is hilarious. Season 2 hopefully is coming up soon. And also, you could see that he's bringing that comic expression to his gimmick, and it's coming out like second nature. It looks like he's not thinking, he's coming out natural. And that's what I'm loving about Trick Williams on the microphone. The way he cut his promo is so smooth, smoother than the other side of the pillow, man. He is cool, calm, collective, and it's funny. Those expressions that he had with Lash Legends there, back and forth. Now he's got us going, lock it in. And he's been working, and that's not the first time he's been doing that, but it now is kicking in. You could tell when a wrestler's getting over and he's just doing something simple, as when Melo has a headlock, he's telling them to lock it in, and everybody in the Pre-C Center, lock it in. And that's how you show he's going over. Personally, I hope they don't make a mistake and make them go up against one another. Eventually that's gonna happen, but now take your sweet ass time before you turn trick against Mello. I hope they both have to go up in the main roster together, similar to a Kaiser went up with Gunther. You have to have Mello and Trick together. To me, that's that's the modern day version of Kevin Nash, not Scott Hall, but HBK. That's that bodyguard, that 1-2 punch, and I would love that for them to replicate more of that. And of course, you see that they both have that. They both chemistry wise, they pretty much finished each other's sentence. Carmelo Hayes as a ring performer gets better and better. But although I just got one minor critic of Carmelo Hayes, just one minor, your air moves are becoming a little predictable. We know when you're going to springboard, you go a little bit too much to that springboard, which it looks phenomenal, looks great, but it's becoming a little predictable. You saw Braun spear the living crap out of you there. I think if you're turning face here, a lot of the heels are going to start using that against you, and it's no longer going to feel special when you break that out, because you do it phenomenal. You might go a little too much to it, but I love it. I can't say anything negative about a Carmelo Hayes match. They're entertaining, they're fun, they're phenomenal. Just that one minor critic. At the end, he beats Noral Dahl. They get a challenge. Out comes Baron Corbin, another free agent, comes in, and boom. For me, Baron Corbin is going to help Carmelo Hayes take his wrestling skill and is another type of a match to another level. Good job there. Brandon Corbin come down to NXT here. Help there in a program with Carmelo Hayes. Could be similar to what Dolph Ziggler did to Braun Breaker. I could see Corbin do that for Carmelo Hayes here. Get him ready, get him there, because Corbin is a safe worker. Regardless of the fact you don't like his gimmick or not, he is a safe worker who shows time and time again. Also, the end of days, that boy, if Carmelo Hayes somehow, not only one thing, only one wrestler ever kicked out, I think it was Drew McIntyre at the end of days. Just think of that. Carmelo Hayes kicking out of an end in days there, where if he shows us he's worthy of it, of the in-ring performance, and give us a banger of a match, which I don't doubt it. Mello never misses, and I think he will definitely have a good match with Corbin in Bash of the Beach. I can't wait to see that there. There's also rumors that Braun Breaker makes his debut on SummerSlam along with Ilya Dragunov. I mentioned that a little earlier. I think, you know what? I don't know if Braun will. I like heel Braun. I like heel Braun. I like, it's easy to play the heel, but man, but here's the one negative. When I said it when he first turned, and I made a video on it, I just don't want people to start thinking that he's copying his uncle Scotty, because but my God, there's a lot, and of course they're blood relatives. His nephew, there is so much similarity there with Scott Steiner. The way he talks, his mannerisms, his speech from Braun Breaker. That's the only thing I'm a little bit afraid of. Hey, what's going on, MC? And that's all, man. That's the only thing I'm worried about him. That's it. That's all I'm worried. Just don't die. Brunson, don't dye your hair white. That's all he has. Unless if you're gonna, I'm doing well. I hope you're doing good, MC. Thank you for joining me this afternoon there. We appreciate it there. Let's acknowledge him. There you go. We acknowledge him. And of course, I just don't worry about it. That's the only thing I worry about. Do you want to put him in a mouthpiece? Personally, I don't know what's going on. Remember, we were talking about the bloodline there. I don't know what's going to happen here. It looks like it's going to be a match in soon. The Usos taking on Solo and Roman. We don't know what's going to happen there. What's going to happen on Friday night, tomorrow night on SmackDown, where hopefully Rikishi is going to interfere here. We might see. I've been saying Jacob Fatu will be coming into this somehow, some way, some form. Heyman. Don't remember Heyman. It all depends on Heyman. One thing that was very interesting. Keep an eye on this tidbit with Heyman. If you watch Night of Champions, when he introduced Solo Sikoa, the Sultan of the Spike, the Sultan of Spike, no longer the enforcer, but the Sultan of Spike, and the way Heyman introduced Solo. I wouldn't be surprised if Solo ends up going with a Heyman guy. Oh, there we go. Let's take a look at there. Let's take a look. By the way, I can make your Kachuteria logo for podcast as well as wrestling. Yeah, we'll get to that. Definitely. I'm gonna put it in the chat, my email. Send me an email and we'll definitely get in contact. I will definitely. There we go. I'll plate that there. And then we'll go from there. And we appreciate that. My email will be coming to you there. And I could see Heyman personally I do as well. I don't remember it though, be honest with you. I haven't been on it for a while, MC. Definitely. Or give me your Discord and I'll find you afterwards. After the program, I'll definitely reach out to you on Discord. Now, one thing about Heyman, I would love Heyman to be a Braun Breaker promo. Imagine he'll be his mouthpiece there. That's why I keep saying, and I've said it time and time again, NXT, I know they're developmental. They're bringing up some great wrestlers, some male and females tag teams and stuff. Personally, I think they also need to develop some managers. There's nothing wrong with some managers. Listen, when at least me, I'm going to talk about the golden age of wrestling. I know I don't want to sound like a relic. You had Bobby Heenan, you had Jimmy Hart, you had Mr. Fuji, you had these guys that were there. You had Captain Lou Albano. You had these guys there. You had Jim Cornette. You always had the manager, Brother Love. I don't think he was a manager for a while, just for a short time. But my point is, there was different managers. Even Paul Heyman. You also saw all so many different ballots and managers. Especially if you could set a mouthpiece where they could cut promos. They're slick and they're fast. And cutting back promos, get people invested. And then when, I believe personally, I think Roman Reigns benefited from being under the tutelage of Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns, right now, you leave him alone with the microphone, and he is just with it. I mean, he's cuts and he is very wit and fast on the mic there, and I love when Roman talks on the mic. Before, when he was part of the Shield and he was on his own, he was a little bit cringeworthy. It was a little bit, and now with Heyman, it works. Maybe that's what a Braun Breaker needs. I would love that NXT to emphasize on getting some managers. That's why I think Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler need a mouthpiece. They're talking to, and I mentioned earlier, me and Jay were agreeing on it. She had those comments about the women's tag titles not being invested or afraid that I might not get pushed. Well, you need to elevate those titles. You were brought in as a big box office fighter from the UFC. Now elevate the tag team titles with Shayna Baszler. You need to and you know what? I would love them to have a mouthpiece. I always said Robert Stone should be the mouthpiece. Bring up Robert Stone. Let him be the mouthpiece for the ladies. Let him unleash hell on them. He could have a cane. He could have a something there, and let him unleash the ladies on the women's division. And you boom, that Robert Stone, and you could really get them over. Promo, he'll cut it, and then they just got to say minor things, and doesn't have to go long. She could just go with 2-liners or 3-liners, Rousey, and then you could get her over and become important. I've been, they were teasing Robert Stone with Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green doesn't need a mouthpiece. Chelsea Green does fine without a mouthpiece, and Sonya Deville, they're fine. They don't need the one that needs the mouthpiece. I believe here is Ronda Rousey and Baszler. Even Raquel Rodriguez might need a mouthpiece. I don't think she does a great promo yet. All right, let's see. I have a question. Do you think will Cena come back? John Cena said on, I believe he did with Donald Gresham Busted Open, that he wants to be a wrestler. He loves being wrestling. He loves wrestling, but his body can't take it. It just hurts him so much. His body hurts him so much. He can't take the physical punishment at the age of 46 or 45, wherever Cena's age is. He can't keep up with the physicality of the ring. He would have loved that. So we'll probably see Cena have a couple of nostalgic matches from here and there, special type of matches once a year, twice a year when the WWE needs him. That's why you got to give kudos to Brock Lesnar. This is the most I've seen Brock Lesnar work. Be honest with you, he must be having so much fun. Remember last year when Vince got ejected out as the chairman, and Brock was scheduled to come out that Friday night, and he kind of was asked to come back. He was walked out on the WWE for a moment, and he came back and did business because he was a big Vince supporter. He came back and did business. Brock, ever since then, I guess whatever situation with Hunter or Nick Khan, whoever had that conversation with him, he came right back in. And he has done a lot. And you know what, Brock Lesnar, I'll be honest with you, I have enjoyed Brock Lesnar ever since last summer to now, as he's done his best work personally. Love that match, that last standing match. I love this program with Cody in the Royal Rumble when him and Gunther met face to face there at the Rumble for a brief moment. I enjoyed this Brock Lesnar, him returning. Looks like he's having fun at his age, and he keeps up there. He doesn't, and when he comes wrestles, it feels special. And I think that's what's going to happen with John Cena. I think he's going to feel that way, that kind of moment when he returns as a special. And you're going to feel special with a Cena return. I love the fact that he put over a young Austin Theory, and I love that fact. It's like, and not passing the baton, but he's putting in understanding, doing business the right way, paying the ways for the younger talent. And I love what Cena has done here. That's why personally, I think he is one of the I know the Mount Rushmores of wrestlers, it changes from every person to person, but for me, I gotta put Cena on the number 4 in my top Rushmores, because I know guys might roll their eyes, Cena won, but Cena, if you listen to you gotta listen to that Busted Open interview, and I've been putting Busted Open a lot over in this channel tonight in the stream, because you know what, they do inform. We might not agree sometimes with LaGreca. I think he kisses AEW's ass too much, but whatever it is what it is. But he does bring some good stuff out there for us as wrestling fans to hear, along with Bully Ray, Mark Henry, Tommy Dreamer, Mickey J, Thunder Rosa. I put them over. So I got to give them credit because they entertain me during the day when I'm at work, and I love to listen to them. They're really good. My point is, when it comes to when that interview with Cena, he gets it, putting the guys over, respecting the business. And when I heard his struggle, the way he prepares for a match, he took a whole week to talk to Austin Theory about the match and going through the psychology of the match and explaining and going through that. He did that with others. He says, listen, we could get hot. We could have a program together. And then the people were complaining about, Cena buries talent he says, it was up to you after we done wrestling each other in our program. You didn't continue to elevate yourself and get the heat. It's on you, bro. And I kind of thought about it and go, you know what's right? Alberto Del Rio never kept popular after he had that program with Cena. And that's an example. And I you know what? I really respect John Cena as a wrestler and what he does with not just with the Make-A-Wish. Forget it. That's another category. It's a whole wing of that. But man, John Cena, one of the best in my opinion. But we will continue with that there with the Cena talk. Keep getting him over. To me, he's one of the top Rushmore. I love the fact that all these other veteran wrestlers are saying Undertaker, Roman Reigns title run is super special. Something special we're witnessing. Listen. I don't think we're ever going to, when Roman Reigns, they decide what creative decides for him to drop those world titles, I don't think we'll have anyone come close. We'll come close to getting 1,000 days as champion. The way the internet and the way the wrestling fans want hot potatoes, these titles, I think that's a problem what happens to all elite wrestling. I think Tony 20 Fingers listens too much to the Twitterverse. Oh, this guy needs the title. Yeah, that's a title. They're trying to do it with Orange Cassidy, and it's working with their international title, the All Atlantic or the All International title. I think it's working with Orange Cassidy. The way I think he has 24 defenses in a row with Orange Cassidy. I love the fact that Jay Cargill had a 60-0 record with it. But one thing about it, their champions get stale is they don't provide them with a program, an opponent to draw and take and push it to the limit. Where you think, ooh, and it case in point, that TNT title, the way they hot potato it, it's just the way they took the titles off of Acclaim, who was one of the most hottest tag teams in AEW, to give it to the Gun Boys. I get it. I'll fine. All to lose it again to the FTR. And what happened to the Acclaim? They flamed out, where they were the most covert team. As soon as they came out, it was a must stop and listen. What did Matt Caster have to rap? And even because they were over, and then you cool them off, and now when he comes back to try to regain that heat, rapping again, you're like, nah, we heard this already. You just got WWE living rent free in your head. Easy, long hanging fruit. Although long hanging fruit is easy because you just grab it and eat it, but it is what it is there. So with that said, I want to thank everyone here. I just talk a little bit about wrestling, a little bit of all a little bit of everything there, here, there. And we'll have a couple more of this wrestling discussion. We'll have hopefully we get someone. I will check that MC Creations. I will check that after the program, indeed. And then listen, I'm definitely gonna have more roundtable, like definitely to have more panelists to have conversations. Wrestling would have been phenomenal. But you know what? Well, next time, I know everyone's working, a little busy running around, so I know it was a little early. Just came out, started a moment thing. We'll have Heel J as well, probably Heel, Mr. Chris, the Flash as well, and others. So we'll definitely have that there. We'll get the roundtable discussion there. I'll get some more people. We'll have to talk about some more wrestling. It wasn't just a review, just a little bit of everything going around, my thoughts of creative and stuff like that. SummerSlam match. Before I get going, what will be the main event? Ooh, interesting to see what will be the main. I know it has to be Roman Reigns defending one of the titles there, and whoever Seth Rollins is going to step up. Who will win the Money in the Bank? Again, I would love 2 different Money in the Banks for Raw and SmackDown as well. I would love to see Dominic hold one there. You know how that creepy Dominic running around with Rhea. That's a good one there. And also probably, of course, you have to push LA Knight. LA Knight time is now. The time is now for LA Knight to get going, to push him. The crowd everywhere loves him. Before I get going, don't discard Karrion Kross. I think at first I wasn't feeling him. I think there's something there. I think they could do something. I let Triple H cook. I think they could do something with Karrion Kross. There's still big time opportunities for Karrion Kross to get going. Of course, he has a good valet in Scarlett, which is going to check some men's boxes to keep her attention on. And I think they have something there. Also, there have been talks about cuts coming up to talent in July. I don't think it'll happen. I think there'll be some. I don't know. There might be some minor here and there. I don't think nothing major going on. Personally, I've said this first. This is my last thing. I could go talk for more time. Personally, I think it's time to disband Hit Row. I like Hit Row. I'm not saying they need to be released. I think you could have Top Dollar change a little bit of his gimmick and be more of a meaner, at least with the cigar of a boss. Possibly team him up with Omos. You have a tag team. God, my goodness. You tell me Omos along with Top Dollar with MVP as their manager. You telling me they're not against in this year? You're talking about big men. You know, some people like big men slapping meats. There you go. There you have it. You got big men slapping meats there with that there. Who's the face? Who's the heel? I don't know. I like Jinder Mahal as the manager too, the mouthpiece for in this year. They could go. I've seen them in NXT. They could go. I would like to see Top Dollar and Omos possibly working as a program as a tag team. Go out there and be dominant. You want to grow your tag team division? There you have a tag team there. You know, they could go. You know, you could BFAB. I think she's another one who's went through the NXT Performance Center along with Adonis. Maybe they go on a singles push or whatever the case may be with them. Singles. I think you could try to find a tag team for BFAB, and of course you want to grow the tag team division. But I think Hit Row as a group they could disband. I think Top Dollar should be a type of a boss with Omos as just Godfather of Harlem. I know there's the Godfather. No one's going to replace him in the WWE, but a Godfather there as a persona where you don't mess with Top Dollar. He will knock you out, and Omos is dead muscle. Personally, like a Kingpin type of deal. Not to steal anything from Marvel Comics, but something like that with Top Dollar. There's talent there. That man could go. I know he did that. I know everybody has laughing with the flip over the rope and all that stuff, but he checks the boxes as a menace. I personally would like them to give that push to him, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens with that there for Top Dollar. I hope Mr. AJ Francis. So we hope that he gets pushed. But BFAB, she's been through the performance center. She could wrestle. She could go. Personally, I would like to see her in any other different creative role. You know, if with the hip hop singing is not working, it's not captivating the crowd. It's kind of, you know, it's not working for Swerve in AEW. It's not working here either. So hopefully they could revamp and repackage him personally, but we'll see there. So this is the Heel of the Ring podcast here. We always have a saying in the Heel of the Ring podcast. If you ain't down with the Heel of the Ring podcast, we got 2 words for you. Just subscribe. We'll see you guys, man. Peace.
Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up.
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a bat,
looking
I
at the
don't know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
fastest
boils
rising
over like,
star in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll bleed on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad.
Shut up.
Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less. If you like me or not, I'm here for success. And there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.